Can't have.
Yesterday, my daughter put out her Facebook a censored picture on her scooter in the front yard. And it's
All it was is Yelp, people that, so we have this.
wanders out of the house with no clothes.
Yeah.
She's out riding a scooter.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not the first time she's had to apologize to her neighbors.
You could do that.
I used to have a little neighbor girl across the
Social
street
district
all the time.
downtown.
She hated work, but we had a house. And I thought she was like 7 before she so realized
If you want to have, so I don't do it. You got tools down the counter.
my daughter, now that she's 21, she won't do it.
Yeah.
So, you know.
The common area is where it has nothing to do with Walmart, has nothing.
It was nice of you. Like I said, that's where I'm seeing it very hot and humid. It's gonna take a while for it to cool.
Yeah.
Open it up in the pool.
It's been leaking over there, cause you, I passed that, you see something.
Yeah, it's, Friday.
Oh, I gotta think from this thing.
Yeah, but.
It's a memo for convention. Oh,
How you guys doing?
Great.
How you doing, John?
Pretty good.
Belated birthday?
You? I have a birthday party right now. I'm trying to get some.
They are, you're not.
I'm not there. Today's your birthday? Yep.
Oh, I know.
See? Happy birthday. Well, that, I got a place to take it. I was running out the door. Cheesecake. Ooh. I guess banana cake. Enough banana cake. My daughter was having dinner and she overslept.
Okay.
I've done this in a long time. Yeah. Then you want to. My last one. Behind his house, yeah, I saw it. What I got on my pocket that month. Yeah.
Yep. Not? Where's that?
Telling a story.
The band tonight?
Sue lives about.
I just said that.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were. Several fingers. Makes a long story short. Put it outside in the corner, get it next to the bear dog. Got stuff there, got nervous, but the bear dog made it easy. Walks in there. I'm down there. I'm down there.
Actually,
That was when my uncle did it. He my hand. This is outside. Going to the hospital. Yeah, there you go. He's got a veterinary back there. I do. Well, I grew up in the.
Time to show you, right?
Yep.
My uncle used to do, or my. 4 years after that. Why?
Yeah.
There first.
I know. I know.
Don't walk.
We always say one man to jump, the other man to
Take care of the rest of the corner. Yeah.
I just wanted to, that's, I mean, others, obviously,
gate, and that's where the gates are. So the gates are coming in, we can, we'll there's the gate. There's around both sides of the street. The finished spaces are in. Both sides are finished. So, matter of fact, we were and by the like a drop off. Yeah, you can do that now. You have an idea that I'll pop off. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't get in the meeting. You gotta get, but it ended up being a phone call from a company that we had something on. Never came out, never looked at it, never gave us a quote, and now they're about more work for us. Yeah, and I said, what? Oh, do you got anything else you want to do? No, and we wouldn't. You know,
Jump there, you had the opportunity.
you know, I'll be nice to them first couple times, but you know, and then I tried from the weather, and it was like,
Exactly. We're done with you.
I got ready, so, and you're just making the word up, down, got a story to tell people.
Exactly. That's never good. No, not, unless it's a good one. But
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'm watching it. Not, I mean, it shouldn't, because they're not.
Apparently have no.
Honestly, the alternative is there, but they're struggling. It does right there on the.
that means everyone.
We have the same voice every time, really were on that, like, not like. Got different people doing it.
Probably offering like that.
You know, they were, there's a big difference at the garden show. And I guess, you know, so that's why we're quite sure that how they were upset. Supposedly, sorry, I just tried to do it, and that's what I got.
I get harmed.
Found out how bad it was.
Right.
No, that's what you have to do.
Yeah, okay. Can you get any using the number?
Oh, yeah.
Registration, one part.
Yeah, but it makes me wonder, you know, about that.
But it's, yeah, that would turn me to, I'm gonna go with someone else. That's an automatic.
Yeah, it's this number now. I add in the number and whatever. Meeting I know. The website has one? Yeah.
Show up.
No. Oh, no. The meeting for the whole thing?
Yeah, the numbers.
Yeah. I use, your neighbor, Lloyd Jarman. He did my application in house. He did a really nice job. I would he's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
Definitely like right now. I like to use both. I can't.
Our kitchen table is.
Oh, okay.
I absolutely love it.
I like very swing and laugh. Almost like a foot squat.
Right,
He's, last week.
That's why I told him.
And then I use Chris Morgan. Always go with Chris. I like to use
No, you're fine.
Hi, Russ.
You're fine. 7 o'clock, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Howard,
Yes.
Carrie,
Here.
Jarvis,
Here.
Muffenmore, McLean. Here. McNabb Stang. Here. Rezegi,
Here.
Smith. Tassava.
Here. Entertain a motion to excuse Councilman Smith and Muffenmore.
So moved.
Motion by McNabb, Stain, supported by McLean. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody get a chance to look at the minutes for the July 26th, 2021 meeting. Any additions or corrections? Okay, motion approved. Motion by Carrie,
Support.
supported by McLean. Roll call.
Carrie,
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
McLean. Yes. McNabb Stang. Yes. Rezegi,
Yes.
Tassava.
Yes.
Dan Bauer.
Yes.
Motion carried.
You have a few things at your desk tonight. I need to add, we need to take an item off the agenda. Item E, consider adoption of resolution 2021-33, necessity for West State Street project. We're gonna bring that up in the next meeting. So I want to replace that with a memo from the Municipal League Convention. And in that material, I don't know if it mentions it or not, but we need to appoint a delegate and alternate tonight for the council to the convention. Any other additions or corrections? That's gonna be 10E again.
Make a motion to change our agenda as per, as amended.
Motion by Carrie, do I hear support? Support by McLean. Any discussion? Roll call.
Jarvis,
Yeah.
McLean. Yes. McNabb Stang.
Yes.
Rezegi,
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Carrie.
Yes.
And Tassava.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Public hearing, we have a public hearing tonight to decide a necessity for the West State Street sidewalk project. So I'm gonna call the public meeting to order. Anybody here from the public wanna get up and talk about anything on sidewalk? This is a necessity for a sidewalk project, Jim. I'll call you in a few minutes. So this is a public hearing to determine necessity for a sidewalk project. It's open to the public right now. Anybody from the public here? Okay, I'll close that meeting. Item 7, call to the public. Anybody here want to get up and talk for 3 minutes? Tell us who you are, and I'll give you 3 minutes.
Brown Supervisor, Hastings Township.
Want to speak into the mic, Jim? I don't hear you.
Is it on?
Yes, don't mess with it. Talk into it.
Okay. You've all got a copy of this. It's the, from Mercy Ambulance. The renewal on their, well, not the renewal, but a change. I'm gonna read this to you. It won't take 3 minutes. Mercy Ambulance Service has been privileged to serve the city of Hastings and Bridge Fire Association for the past 45 years. Making efficient use of up-to-date equipment and quality trained personnel has kept the cost of the operation at a level that made charging for the service not necessary, which has been beneficial to Mercy and the citizens we serve in Hastings and Bridge Fire District. As time has passed, Hastings and Berry County has increased in population, was getting older. Cost of operation, medical and mental health incidents have changed, and the current business model is not financially or logistically possible. Looking down the road for the next several years, a reasonable amount of subsidy is necessary to offset the rise of such costs. To help keep this cost as low as possible, Mercy Ambulance plans to make a substantial investment in additional equipment and personnel to meet the needs of our system. This investment will allow the efficient use of the entire operation for the city of Hastings and Virtual Lands for the next 5-year contract. The investment into personnel, upgrading and purchasing equipment, and the cost of the operation is $118,602, which will be billed on an annual basis for the first 2 years. Afterwards, an increase of 3% for years 3, 4, and 5 would be applied. The billing timeframe may be structured with the current city Birch cost sharing agreement. Because of the financial commitment by the City of Hastings Birch Alliance, the service will be limited to the geographical areas both entities serve and not to exceed a 60-mile radius. Any expansion would have to be approved by the City Birch Alliance to assure proper emergency service coverage is optimal. It is conceivable that a strategic expansion could reduce the cost to the Alliance while effectively keeping the service at a high level for all Alliance members. In closing, Mercy Ambulance is looking forward to a positive future for the City of Hastings and Birch Alliance, leading the way as an example of private and governmental cooperation for the benefit of all. The 1 minute I got left, I took the population for the city of Hastings at the last census and the Hastings Township. Did some simple math, took the $118,602 and divided it by that population, and that comes out to $5.44 a year per person, or 45 cents a month, which is coffee money. The best bargain for medical emergency services in Berry County. So, last but not least, I saw on your agenda that you're going to give Lori Parmenter an award of some sort. I have not a clue what it is, but I'll tell you what. She's very smart. She's a hell of a hard worker, and I make the motion that we give her a raise.
I'll second that. Anybody else want to get up and address the council? Anybody else in the public want to get up and address the council? Okay. Next item, formal recognition. Jeez. Formal recognitions and presentations. Presentation or reward of a reward. Man, let me get a drink.
What did you say?
Presentation of award to Deputy Clerk Lori Parmenter by City Clerk Jane Sarb. I'll meet you down there in a second, as soon as I can get up. Something going on tonight, something in the water, I think. Yeah. Right up here, Lori. I got this letter the other day. It was from the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks. Dave Tosma, Mayor, City of Hastings. Dear Mayor Tosma, the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks is an organization that promotes and educates Michigan's clerks through our Michigan Professional Municipal Clerk, MIPMC certification program. Clerks are recognized for their knowledge of the multifaceted clerk profession. We are pleased to announce that your deputy clerk, Lori Parmenter, has met the program criteria, has obtained the prestigious MIPMC certification. Lori's commitment to education and desire to attain certification clearly defines commitment to the clerk's profession and your community. On behalf of the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks Board of Directors, I ask that you join us in congratulating Lori for the accomplishment and well-deserved recognition. Sincerely, Mary R. Clark, MIPMC President.
So, many aspects of a clerk's responsibilities are driven by ever-changing legislation, technology, and budget. Lori's investment in time and dedication to her education has afforded her the necessary tools to perform with excellence as a leader in our municipality and in the eyes of her peers. The Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks hereby confers the designation of MIPMC Michigan Professional Municipal Clerk to Lori Parmenter in recognition of having satisfied the requirements prescribed by the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks, June 30, 2021.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll back what Jim said. I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, items for action by unanimous consent. Item A, consider request from Elks Lodge 1965 to suspend alcohol sales and consumption in the social district during the Summerfest event, adopt resolution 2021-32. I hear a motion to approve resolution 2021-32.
I'll support.
Motion by Rezegi, supported by McLean. Any discussion? Roll call.
McLean.
Yes.
Nabstain.
Yes.
Rezegi.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Carey.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yeah.
And Tassava.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item B, invoices, Civic Systems, $5,610, semi-annual software support. C280, $9,900 professional services. Chemtrade Chemicals, $5,186 for alum sulfate. Great Guidance LLC, $6,770.88 for interim city manager. State of Michigan, $38,280.38, and also State of Michigan, $10,978. Anybody want to talk about any of those? If not,
I just have a question. The two MDOTs, what projects are they for?
Travis, can you answer that, or James?
Those are for the Michigan to Michigan Avenue from, that goes north of the bridge, to, Woodlawn Avenue.
Nothing was done to Michigan Avenue.
No, that's pretty nice.
Oh, okay,
And
Because-
and the other would be Woodlawn for construction.
okay.
Any other questions? Entertained a motion to approve these invoices. Motion by Rezegi, supported by Bowers. Discussion? Roll call.
Bowers.
Yes.
Carey.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Nabstain.
Yes.
Rezegi.
Yes.
And Tassava.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, item 10, items of business. Consider approval of expenditure of $19,685.60 to rural gasoline equipment cap the 100 LL underground storage tanks at Hastings City, Berry County Airport. I hear a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by McLean, supported by Carey. Questions?
This budget?
Budgeted,
It's an airport,
airport's budget?
Yep.
Okay.
it's coming totally out of the airport budget. And I don't know if anybody noticed, there was actually a bid and an alternate bid. We went with the alternate bid. If you look at the one sheet, it says, like, I don't know, $15,000, and what we approved was 19 because we're gonna submit the cap thing too, so.
Yeah, I saw that was an item that you could accept or not on the.
Yeah, just want to make sure everybody saw that.
Can I got a question for you, because you're on the board. Is there a reason they didn't take the tanks out, or?
They recommend that you cut a hole in the top of them, fill them full of slurry, and leave them right there.
Okay, because we've done that, absorbs whatever, everything.
And they'll seal it. We've got 10,000 gallon fuel tank underneath the foundation, city garage over there. They did the same thing too. They filled it, capped it.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Nabstain,
Yes.
Rezegi,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carey,
Yes.
Jarvis,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
and Tassava.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item B, consider award of contract to P1 Incorporated for $258,400 for rehab of the north and south, water towers, and authorize the clerk to sign. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Carrie?
Carry to approve. Do I hear support? Support by Rezegi. Discussion.
In the budget?
Yes. Any other questions?
This is something we do every so many years, right?
It's based on the report in 2019, I think.
Roll call.
Rezegi,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carey,
Yes.
Jarvis,
Yeah.
McLean,
Yeah.
McNabstain,
Yes.
and Tassava.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Can I add something real quick?
Sure.
It's amazing that the highest bid was like double what we're actually paying. So, to let the taxpayers know that we don't always go with the highest thing, it's just amazing. So, probably few people that do
These people kind of local. They had like a,
Yeah, that was.
hey, consider purchase of small water meters, service meters from Neptune for $60,000. They're Neptune meters from Ferguson, as recommended by Director of Public Service Tate. Your motion approved.
I make a motion that we approve.
Motion by McNabstain, supported by Rezegi. Discussion. Questions?
No question. It's in budget? Can you put that on your reports from now on? We'll just stop asking that question.
I thought I did.
I appreciate it.
That was in his report. I know.
that. So,
Any other questions? Roll call.
Bowers,
yes.
Carey,
Yes.
Jarvis,
Yeah.
McLean,
Yeah.
McNabstain,
Yes.
Rezegi,
Yes.
and Tassava.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Consider Sixth Amendment to Real Estate Agreement for 128 North Michigan Avenue. Everybody get a chance to look at that? Grady's gonna explain it to us.
I would like a resident.
Just a couple of comments here for you. When you came in this evening, you will have found on the desk in front of you a marked up copy of the agreement that was previously included in your agenda packet. And I want to walk through the two changes that are incorporated here. I will preface my remarks by saying, I'm sure to you, this seems like a project that will never come to an end in terms of the amendments to the agreement. This is amendment number 6. This started out in response to the action that you took at your previous meeting relative to the purchase price and the conditions under which they would see a reduction in the purchase price. Attorneys for both sides were working on this, and as of late today, this is where we came to. So I want to point out to you the two things that are indicated in red on here in paragraph 3. The proposal from the city, the original language that came from us on this, was directly in keeping with the way that you had expressed it, is they're gonna pay this amount, but they're gonna get a rebate at the time if they complete the construction in the time frame that was discussed and approved by the city council. Raising it the way that we propose apparently creates a potential tax liability for them, at capital gains tax liability for them at the time that they would receive that rebate. And so their preference to avoid that is to have it structured so that the purchase price is that lower amount, and then they won't see that come through as an income item to them or as a capital gains item to them at the time that they complete the second part of this, which is where I think the more significant conversation perhaps needs to take place. And that is that we propose that in order to qualify for that rebate, that they needed to have unconditional certificates of occupancy for the entirety of the building and all of the units in it. They are balking at that. And the reason, yeah, I know, surprise, surprise, they're balking at that in large measure related to the commercial space on the first floor. And their reasoning is that they don't currently have an identified tenant for that. They may not have an identified tenant for that space even 15 months out. And if that's the case, then they would not be completing that space in time to qualify for the unconditional certificate of occupancy. And the reason is they want to have a tenant. The tenant identifies how that space has to be configured and built, and so they would not be able to proceed on that basis. I had a conversation with one of the real estate people today indicating that, that really wasn't what we intended here. But by the same token, and actually they had, their language came through as either conditional or unconditional approval or certificates of occupancy on the residential component. And I said, absolutely no on the unconditional, or on the conditional, it has to be unconditional. They have to be able to get in those units. Everything's got to be completed on the residential units. Don't even talk about conditional approval for that. This is structured so that it achieves the primary interest that council had, which was in terms of the residential space. So it's not, I don't think it's consistent entirely with what you had talked about, but this is what they are asking for you to approve. Now, I want to add one other little qualifier to this, and that is in speaking to Emily Green in your office.
Yeah.
She's the attorney who's been working on this. She does not like the actual verbiage that's used in the first portion of this. She believes that it is not clearly stated, and I agree with that. I don't like it either. But rather than attempt to work that language out today, our preference is that if you wish to approve this amendment, that you approve it, but with the authority to make appropriate language changes to more clearly state the intent of the parties here than what is accomplished here. So we just kind of ran out of time in order to get this completely done for you. There was a lot of back and forth over the last couple of weeks on this. We just couldn't get it all hammered out. I think my last conversation with anybody about this was at 5 o'clock this evening, trying to get it to this point for you. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, but I think you understand the intent here. I think this really comes back to you for either approval or rejection. Keep in mind that you may choose to reject this language in favor of the language that had previously been agreed to if you're more comfortable with that. That, they're going to balk at that, so just be aware that that's the case.
Well, we got him on video saying that that's what he was going to do, so I would think that he'd stand by his word.
Contract override that.
For a change.
Yeah. I think our intent was the residential area being the occupancy permits on that. And it is understandable that the retail space may not be done, until after they rent it out. If they want to rent it out to a sporting goods center that wants to put a basketball arena down there or something, and sell basketballs, they can't have that done until they rent that out. So I think that was our understanding, was basically residential.
Yeah, the understanding was that it was complete, they could start renting.
Right.
Apartments.
Right.
Good. I thought that the last meeting here, that they said 67,000. And now I see it's 58. I don't remember that.
The figure's still the same, right?
It's them paying us 77,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And the 58's the remainder.
The 58 is the remainder. That's the leftover one portion of it they would get back if they completed the project.
We will?
They will. They will.
They will.
Right.
Out of the 138.
You're right.
If we approve this, we're gonna get dirt moving over there.
I don't have any way of knowing that. What I know is that they will have another month during which they have some things they need to wrap up. We have some things that you need to wrap up in terms of the approval of the property tax abatement that they are requesting. So there are a few more activities there are a few more things that need to get done. I don't think that you can guarantee that they're going to close on it. There's no way to know that until they actually hand you the check and sign the papers.
Got a question?
I think the better question is, can I guarantee that they won't come back for any more amendments? And the answer to that is, I can't guarantee that either. I hope not. And I tried to emphasize with them, in fact, the individual, I didn't speak to Mr. Bennicklausen on the phone today. I spoke to the individual in their real estate division, and I said, are you aware that we only got to this point because of the fact that council passed this on a 5-4 vote? I said, I'm not convinced that council's going to look very kindly on these additional changes. So just be aware, I'll take this before council so they can make a decision about it. But I don't expect them to like these additional changes. So, I mean, I've tried to convey how seriously council took this entire issue and the kind of conversation that you had about it at your last meeting. I think that our original approach on this was consistent with what you had directed us to do. But I think they're this is another example of them trying to claw back up just a little bit more on this one more time. If you're asking me if that's the end of it, their behavior would lead me to believe that no, it's not.
Steph, did you have any?
I obviously was against this at the last meeting, but the council voted for it, so I will support the concept, but I agree that the language related to the reduction in the price is not good. And I don't think we should, and in light of the fact that we're pushing back closing to September 15th, I see no reason why we should rush through this, that we should get this language acceptable to our attorney. And that's what I'd be looking for. The second part of as it relates to the commercial area, I totally understand that as well. Most commercial area is built to the specific lessee, and they don't, they won't necessarily have a lessee for the retail space at that point in time. So I can accept the second change. The first one I think needs to be worked out.
So what do you think? The lawyer should hammer it out?
Yes. Yes. And I can make a motion to approve this, subject to it being the language being worked out and acceptable to council.
Okay. Do I hear a support on that? Support.
Council.
They've had 6 different things to go over the last 2 years, or maybe 3 by now. Each time they come back to us, they don't want to pay us the same amount. They keep reducing the amount. I don't think they're doing this in good faith. And I personally don't like this, because I think that they're going to screw us around again. And so you can say what you want. That property can be sold somewhere else, I think.
Okay, any other comments?
I will comment. I do agree with both Brenda and it almost seems like they're wanting it all for nothing, and that is kind of concerning. And so, I feel like if our attorney can't come to an agreement, maybe we should reconsider.
So they're still talking.
Right.
Not that they can't come to an agreement.
Right.
The motion is to, approve this and have the lawyers hammer it out. Go ahead.
I agree with all of it, but my opinion is that we need to take this one last step, and if they come back to us again with some other change, we're done.
I feel
Okay, any other comments? Roll call.
Terry,
Yes, for what Brenda said?
Jarvis,
Yes.
McLean,
yes.
McNabb,
Yes.
Rezegi,
Yes.
Bowers,
No.
and Tassava.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Marching orders. IB memo from MML League Convention. Everybody got in their, at their desk tonight, all the information on the, convention this year. It's in Grand Rapids. One thing we have to do tonight, you'll have time enough to, decide if you want to go to this and get a hold of Rusty and sign up for it, but we need to elect a delegate, or appoint a delegate and a alternate delegate. Do I hear any names being thrown out there?
John?
I make a motion that the mayor be elected as the delegate and, the mayor pro tem as the alternate.
Okay, we have a motion, do I hear support?
I'll support.
Support by McLean, motion by Brenda Nabstain, motion and support by Becky McLean. Any comments? John, do you want to do that?
Yeah, I don't have a choice, I'm going.
But all of us are welcome to go.
Right. I encourage you all to go.
I just
Yeah, I
haven't
love
signed
that.
up yet, which is my mistake, but, well,
Okay, roll call.
Jarvis,
Absolutely, yes.
McLean.
Yes.
McNabb,
Yes.
Rezegi,
yeah.
Bowers,
I would say yes.
Terry,
Yes.
and Tassava.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item F, consider approval of franchise agreement for Levis Sanitary Service. Everybody get a chance to look at that? Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Motion by Rezegi,
Support.
support by Nabstain. Discussion.
This is really just an extension, right?
Kind of. I mean, they have had a franchise. It actually expired a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
And we were just getting kind of caught up to them. They apologize. They're not the only ones. We have the same issue with waste management. But I don't believe that I think these are treated in your ordinance as the new 5-year franchise each and every time. So, but it is, it is the same company and, it performed well in the community. We have no reason to object to branding a new franchise.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not making. We have a motion.
We have motion and support.
I'm very impressed with the lessons, the job they do compared to other people that want our franchise agreement, so I think they're a good company to work with. So we're lucky to have them.
I hear a lot of great comments about buses all the time. I happen to have, 5 different places that are serviced by buses, and I have had no complaints whatsoever. Actually, I've had nothing but praise for them. So extending their contract, I think you pissed a lot of people off. We did.
What was that word?
I think a lot of
Make them upset, he said.
We have a jargon.
Strike that.
Money record. I'm the one supposed to slip up like that, but any other comments? Roll call.
McLean.
Yes.
McNabb,
Yes.
Rezegi,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
And Tassava.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Staff presentations and policy discussion, we have none. Item 12, city manager.
Thank you, Your Honor, back up here again. Just a few things I want to bring you up to speed on, that go beyond the verbal report that I gave you at the end of last week. First of all, and I don't know whether you're aware of this or not, but we now have a signed agreement with Sarah Moyer Kale And she has indicated, and that agreement provides that she would start then on September the 13th. So a few more, you're stuck with me for a few more weeks here. And I have written to her today, and emailed her to her today, so we're beginning that transition process to get her on board here, so you can look forward to that. Just a little bit of a heads up, we have some finance software transitions that we are going to be doing on Friday morning this week. As a consequence, we are not going to have computers available in the way we ordinarily have to take payments. We're going to close the offices to the public for Friday morning and open at 1 o'clock on Friday afternoon. There'll be an announcement that will go in the paper. We'll put it on Facebook and our website and post it on the doors and all the rest of it. We believe this is a good time with the activity we have in the office to do that. So just be aware that and people will still be able to get here. We'll have to call and make an appointment, get somebody to meet them at the door and those kinds of things. But we think it'll be a minor inconvenience for this time in order for us to do what we need to do on the finance software side to make that transition. I want to go back and cover just briefly the subject that Jim Brown spoke to you about at the beginning of the meeting. That is the agreement with the ambulance service, providing for a subsidy for them that you've not seen before. This is something that the way this is developing is that each of the persons who was present at the meeting last Thursday where this was presented was to go back to their respective units of government and try to get some kind of feedback from those units of government as to whether or not they wish to proceed along these terms, that is, providing for some sort of level of subsidy. This obviously has to take the form of a new agreement that will have to come back to you. I want to raise this issue. This is something that Sarah is going to be dealing with during her time with you. I will not be dealing with this. They're going to get back together for another conversational meeting on the 29th to kind of say, you know, what's the reaction from the respective elected officials? And then that, assuming that there's a desire to move forward with that, then that would kick off a process of negotiating terms of a new agreement and the formula for how that subsidy would be divided among the respective units of government, with the idea that they want to try and conclude that by the end of this calendar year. So I don't know that it's necessary for you to have any conversation about this at this time, but sometime over the next meeting or two, you should plan to have some kind of discussion about this. My recommendation would be that maybe you have that when Sarah is here so that she is aware of the sentiments of council, since she's the one who's going to be handling negotiations on your behalf with perhaps the mayor or some other representative of the council involved in that. So clearly, if you want to talk about that more or have any questions for me about that, I'm happy to talk about that. And then the final item that I want to, let me mention one other thing before I get to my final item. We pulled from the agenda the approval of the resolution related to the hearing of necessity on the sidewalks. Travis and I still have some work that we want to do to go over the numbers and make sure that we have a solid recommendation for council about that. We'll have that back for you at your next meeting. We worked on it this afternoon, and I just didn't feel like we had enough time to really get it into the condition that I wanted it in for you. So look for that at your next meeting. And then finally, we have one other item that we had spent some time talking about a while back, and that's pension and OPEB. I know how excited you are about having this conversation, and so we haven't come back to that again. I would like to request that you give consideration. Last time we were together and talked about this, we talked about having a special meeting. I would like you to give consideration to holding that special meeting on the last Monday this month, which I believe is the 30th. That's kind of an extra Monday this month, and if you're agreeable to that, I'd like to have you meet together, and then we'll dedicate an extended period of time. We'll attempt, as was requested by Councilmember McNabb Stang, to have somebody here from MERS to address some questions about the calculation of the actuarial valuation. But most of that meeting should be devoted to considering some options and getting some feedback from you about what options you would consider to be the ones you would most likely support. the purpose of doing this at this time is, again, laying the groundwork. You're gonna work with Sarah on actually coming up with the corrective action plan. That needs to be submitted at the end of September. And so I always intended that was work you were going to do with your new manager, since she is going to be the one that will have to implement your recommendations. But we want to make sure that you've had some opportunity to get information ahead of that. We'll obviously be briefing Sarah on this topic so that she comes in prepared to continue on with discussions with you. But I hope that you would be available for that meeting on the 30th of this month to continue that conversation. Unless there are any questions that council members have, that's all that I have, Your Honor.
Sarah comes in on the 13th
Right.
of September. How long are you going to be here for?
I will be, that actually is going to come up at your next meeting. My plan is that I would finish my service to you on the 12th. That's
September?
of September.
You two cross at all?
I would recommend that we not do that. And the reason for that is fairly simple. You only have one city manager here. As of the 13th, that will be Sarah. I will be available to Sarah. And I want to be very clear about that. I've already told Sarah this, that she has my business card with my business email address as well as my telephone. And I said, you are welcome to call me at any time. My belief is, though, that she's going to want to come in and it will be her administrative organization at that point. If I'm still hanging around the office here, it creates confusion on the part of employees as to who's really in charge, who did they go to under those circumstances. You know, when I started a week ahead of when Jerry Zarnecki left, but as you know, I stayed out of the way. I was up here the whole time. I don't think I met with any staff members during that entire period of time, with the exception of meeting with Jerry to get some background. What we're doing here is we're providing written background information for Sarah on a variety of things that has either been going on or will be going on into the future. So she will come in and have that information available to her. But more importantly, I will be available by phone or by email to respond to any other questions. But I think that it's best to have a clean break between the two of us so that when she comes in here, there's no question about who's in charge.
So can I hear a motion on having a special meeting on August 30th? Motion by Bowers to have a special meeting August 30th. What time? 7, 6.
It's up to you. I'll be here.
Sounds good.
I don't know what my calendar is, so I don't, I don't know what my calendar is.
Well, we plan on 7, Your Honor, is the regular starting time.
In this chamber?
Yep. Motion by Bowers for the special meeting at 7 o'clock on the 30th. I hear support. I support that. Support by Rezegi. Discussion. Roll call.
Handstang,
Yes, I guess.
Rezegi,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Gary,
I'll be here.
Jarvis,
Yes.
McLean. Yes. Tassava.
Yes.
Motion carried.
City Attorney report.
Nothing for council.
Legislative Director's report.
No, Grand Valley Metro Council meeting until September, and my attendance at that meeting is gonna be subject to their COVID protocol, because it's gonna be an in-person meeting. And in light of the fact that we have, I don't know, 40 people, in one room, shoulder to shoulder, I don't know that I will end up being there, so. That's all I have.
And in your packet, you have the Public Service Director's report, Fire Chief report, Library Director's report, Assessor's report, Berry County Central Dispatch statistics for July 2021, draft minutes, Planning Commission, August 2nd, 2021, draft minutes, Library Board, August 2nd, 2021, draft minutes, the airport meeting, July 28th, 2021, draft minutes, the LDFA meeting, July 22nd, 2021, City of Hastings special election, August 3rd results. Does anybody want to, Travis is here, if you have any, Peggy's here, if you have any questions for the Director of Public Services, I'll go with him first. Roger Rogers probably on the line. Any questions of Peggy? You all missed a real fun weekend.
I
watched it online.
was busy that day.
I knew.
Didn't know how that turned out. I seen some videos, but
We had 190 people come to the event, and can't say everyone had a great time, but almost everybody.
Mayor did.
Yeah.
The mayor looked like
The mayor got all phones, so, yeah, it went really well, and we were happy to celebrate such a great milestone.
Okay, can I have these items approved and placed on file, or?
you didn't go to the assessor. Sorry. I have a question.
Okay.
Do we have 3 full-time people in the assessor department? The way I read it, they have the 2 assessors and then another person.
The 2 assessors are sort of an equivalent of an FTE, except they don't get benefits or anything like that. But their number of hours that they are here is 40, and then we have a part-time person that is here 20 hours a week.
So we don't, the 2 assessors are not full-time?
No.
Okay. I'm not
It's like a
clear on that.
person and a half.
No, and then the half person is doing other things.
Oh, yeah, so she also works for the finance department, so works half for us and half for them.
That answers the question, thank you.
Any other questions? Did I hear a motion to approve, place on file?
So moved.
Motion by McNabb, supported by McLean. Any further comments? Roll call.
Rezegi,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Carey,
Yes.
Jarvis,
Yes.
McLean. Yes. McNabb Stang,
Yes.
and Casa.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, we have another call to the public. Anybody out there like to speak? I'd like to know who these 2 people are out here.
Glad you asked.
Want to go to the podium? Sure. Tell us who you are and why you're here.
My name's Ed Tiller. My wife is Michelle Peltier. We're new residents, just moved in over on West Colfax.
Welcome.
And my wife grew up in the area, so she's familiar with Hastings. And just want to let everybody know, we've been here about 4 months, and it's just been a wonderful experience.
Good.
So the other point I'd like to make is, Mr. Tate, question I have in regards to the water meters about the purchase in Ferguson. If you haven't issued a purchase order yet, I would be willing to reach out to one of my previous suppliers in the plumbing industry and get a quote for you. I have experience in the plumbing industry, in sales and I'm a licensed master plumber. And who knows, maybe I can save Hastings a few bucks.
Well, talk, stop in and talk to them.
Okay, very good.
Well, welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And welcome back.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, it's been 40 years.
Haven't gone anywhere.
No, I actually walk around town and it's as I remember. A little less manufacturing in town now. A lot, that's a sad thing to see.
Anybody else want to get up and talk? Anybody public? Mayor and council comments. Anybody have any comments tonight? Don, go ahead.
There's on East Clinton, across the river, on this side, there is an abandoned, I don't want to call it a home, because it really isn't. The fellow died over a year ago. The son came down because we got after him about the condition. There's an unlicensed car in the back. I'd like to see us get something done there.
You're talking about 200 block of East Clinton Street by Fall Creek.
Sir, we are currently working on that property.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It is taking some time with communication, but we're currently working on that.
Okay.
Any other questions, anybody? Any comments from the council?
I'll make a comment that I was happy to see that the bond proposal passed in the city and the people of Hastings supported that with our schools, and unfortunately it didn't pass in the rest of the county. So just leave it at that.
Comments tonight, Jackie? Happy birthday, John.
I think I better just keep it on.
Today is John's 40th birthday.
Yeah. He's missing his party.
Yeah,
Well, no,
we decided to start without me.
he should have been to the library, he'd had his party today. Okay, if there's nothing else come for council, I
Just
understand.
one thing, I was handed this before, just before the meeting, it's a thank you note from Rusty, and so I'm passed it down for folks to see.
Okay. No, she had flowers delivered today from the city council. Oh. This is a thank you note from her. We don't do that more often. Anything else?
Nope.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to
Motion by McLean, ordered by
Nobody.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say aye. Thanks for coming. You're welcome to come back again.
We will.
Leave your name, and I'll probably put you on some kind of board or whatever.
That's his boy.
Well, sorry, but I just